Hello, and welcome to another edition of uh, our host is Sparrow Howard, and she is the creator of the Eyes of the Conscious Soul. Um, I want to thank her for her steadfast dedication to this, and I also thank Believe Radio, who has sponsored this platform and encouraged all the folks that make it possible for us to do what we do here. Um, I want to kind of start the show by saying again, thank you for listening, thank you for coming out. Um, we're going to build a movement here. We're going to build a very, very strong um, foundation to talk about the things that are going on. Um, and I chose this month well, talking about World Health Day. It's on April the 7th. And it's um, it's a discussion about looking at the health of the world overall, globally. And I think it's important that we understand the global issues of world health and the local issues of world health. And what I mean by that is, although we're worried about global warming, in reality, it is the local level where we have, and particularly communities of color located near freeways. The recent in California, especially, this issue with climate change, and we'll just find that. But in terms of the fires, in terms of the drought, and in California, it's feeling it's just the overall lower quality of life. Um, I want to give a special shout out to the new Supreme Court Justice. She will do us well. She was under a lot of pressure. Um, any woman of color is under a lot of pressure when they approach these kinds of positions, and they have very idealistic views about the nature of it and truly believe in the work. So that's what you should get from the new Supreme Justice. She believes in the work. She believes in law. She believes in judging fairly. So I wanted to talk today about World Health Day. The original date is April 7th, and um, uh, in the WHO's poster submission of 2022, it says, "Are we able to reimagine a world where there's clean air, water, and food available to all? Uh, where are our economies focused? Where our economies are focused on health and well-being? Uh, where we are in livable and we're in cities that are livable and people have control over their health and the health of the planet." That's pretty grand, but understand that the whole emphasis is not just us as a healthy people, but the need to have a healthy planet. Um, and the World Health Organization, um, uh, they're in an article in terms of the theme, history, and significance. The World Health Day was created as one of the first acts of the newly amended uh, WHO, World Health Organization. It was created in 1948. That's a long time. And it had the say so of 61 countries, and in particular, China and Brazil were the first to put this amendment together and this paper together to have this discussion about looking at the uh, uh, global world health that is hopefully nonpartisan and also uses best science. Um, and they changed it to April 7th because they want to encourage more students to be a part of this global initiative. And kind of this is the creation of the United Nations in 1948, and they wanted an entity dedicated to the study of health topics facing the world. Um, And as noted in the World Free Press, uh, this is just one of the initiatives that the World Health Organization is involved in. If you haven't looked at it, the WHO, you should really kind of understand this organization as one of the probably most powerful, nonpartisan, and collegial organizations in terms of the health of the world. And not only are we talking about the World Health Day, there are some other global campaigns that marked by the WHO. It's the World Tuberculosis Day, World Immunization Week, World Malaria Day, World No Tobacco Day. That's a good one. World AIDS Day, World Blood Donor Day, uh, World Patient Safety Day, World Antimicrobial Awareness Week, and World Hepatitis Day. So this is a running initiative about the general concerns of health issues that face us, not only on a global level but also on a local level. And the theme today is of the of the WHO uh, World Day is our planet, our health. And I'll say that again: our planet, our health. And we understand that COVID changed everything, exposed cracks in all levels of government in the health care and the government systems that are opposed to have developed our health care. I will say now today that the public health is not public. Public health has was not ready for this pandemic endemic. Uh, Surely was understaffed. Surely uh, uh, there was clinician burnout, and it was just something that we have never been used to seeing. And I have to say this with kind of a grain of salt. Not that we weren't used to seeing it; it was just that we weren't used to dealing with it, and that a lot of the quote unquote epidemics. I think the healthcare worker felt they could not be exposed. They were being vaccinated or being protected. And I think this is the first time where I can remember in a 35-year history where you didn't feel protected. You felt unsafe. You felt that every exposure could cause an issue. So, and so the big thing with the World Health Day is to understand our interconnection between us as humans and our planet. Um, so, in one of the series of United Nations reports, uh, a few thousand scientists and government reviewers agreed that limiting the global temperature rise to no more than 1 degree 5 Celsius would help us avoid all the worst climate impacts and maintain a livable climate. Yet, based on the current national climate plans, uh, global warming is projected to reach 3.2 centigrade by the end of the century. So, what does that mean? It means that our world is warming, it's staying warm, and a lot of the ecosystems that we depend on are dying or being changed by the fact of this climate crisis. Um, and I think that we have to take the issue of climate change out of politics and put it in where responsibility lies. Humans created um, this climate crisis, and humans can stop it. Um, and I think down to a level, we look at people of color and culture, and we say, well, what can we do? It's bigger than me. It's bigger than us. It's the small things. It's recycling. It's walking instead of driving. It's moving to more forms of renewable energy. Yes, it's going to be tough. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. But we can't leave our children with a planet worse than what we received. So these are the things that work on my mind and my brain. As I have four grandchildren that are girls, and they have to grow up in this, and so we have to be mindful of this. And so um, I think that the issue of climate change is defined by the United Nations climate change in a white paper, it refers to the long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns that could be uh, that can be natural. In other words, variations in the solar cycle, but um, many people think uh, climate change is just warmer temperatures. No, it's just not warmer temperatures, just not getting hot. But you can see it in California. You can see it all over the, particularly the United States and over a country and over the world. Um, uh, but the rising temperatures is just is the only beginning of the story, because the Earth is a system, and it's in uh, UN reports noted the Earth is a system where everything is interconnected, and changes in one area can influence changes in other. You know, we see that right now, and we see it in terms of the again the droughts. We see it in terms of its effect on livestock, its effect on in California the wine industry. If you're into that, it we used to be the breadbasket of the world. Is that really true now? Because we've had a lot of problems with water and having enough water to irrigate our crops. We've had a problem with the folks to harvest our crops. So this is an ongoing issue in terms of our planet, our health. Um, and I think I want folks to understand that the consequences of climate change, now including, among other things, as noted in this report, droughts, water scarcity, uh, severe fires, rising sea levels, flooding, melting of the polar ice cap, catastrophic storms, and declining biodiversity. And I guess if you haven't noticed, a lot of the major uh, networks are moving to weather channels. What channels completely devoted to weather and the transition of that weather. That's how That's how good the science is about, being able to be in a situation where you can predict some of these things. And secondly, the need to understand it's devastating. Um, and I think that the more the more we understand the driver of climate change is the burning of fossil fuels and coal, oil, and gas. I told you that humans could get us out of this. Humans got us into it. Humans got can get us out of this, and that we understand that the burning of fossil fuels, what I put in my car to drive, what people use to burn for heat, uh, has really changed the dynamics. And agriculture also is a major contributor to this climate crisis and global warming. And that means more sustainable forms of farming. You know, allowing farmers to change their crops that are probably more water resistant, and make them more profitable. The American farm system is being decimated, not just um, by the weather changes, but also by foreign competition. Um, it's almost like we got one hand tied behind our back. If you Let's put in a really succinct thing. The Ukraine provides 10% of the Russia provides 10% of the oil for gas of the world. If they decide to stop pumping oil or gas to Europe, they will freeze, because we haven't been proactive as opposed to reactive. And um, I watched stuff like Bloomberg, and they were saying that we have to stop putting our lives in the hands of dictators and those that do not mean us good. That means the supply chains have to change. That means that it's going to cost us more for the things that we want, because what has happened now is that I believe the financial party is over. You can no longer be able to, on a world stage, particularly in America, get cheap goods. Um, it's going to have to stop. Um, and so And the understanding of basically the science is that these type of fuels generate greenhouse gas emissions, and it acts like a blanket over the earth, trapping uh, uh, the those gases, almost like a layer um, of heat, and so it's almost like this gas produces itself, and then because of the atmosphere, it gets stuck there, and you can see it in LA. You can see it as now as how hot it gets sometimes. That is the effect of the climate crisis and global warming. And I don't mean to push it, but it's the things that we're going to have to change. We're going to have to change how we eat. We're going to have to change how we drive, walk, run. We're going to have to change, and that's what it means basically. Um, and it says that, and one of the things that, if you look at California, the droughts and the fires, the heat emissions in the form of heat is released as carbon dioxide and methane, poisonous, right? And so we find this is the effect on Americans' health, the effect in terms of asthma, heart disease, uh, accidents, skin cancers, um, mental health issues. Um, we see all those things happening because of the global uh, climate crisis and climate change. Again, um, uh, our planet, our health. And I want to again say thank you uh, to everyone listening. We want to grow the brand. Please tell a friend about a friend to come hear us. Believe Radio, I think, is on the cutting edge and moving us forward. And it's a 24-hour inspirational and gospel music station. And my supporter here is the Eyes of Conscious Soul, Sister B Mello. She is on the first Saturday of the month from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and then where she hosts the Cafe de Blue Lounge. First corner is Artist Talk. Uh, Second corner, Why I Dream. Third corner, uh, She Who Believes takes off the mask. Um, and I'm on every second Saturday of the month from 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. We're on now. We're broadcasting live. Thank you. And I'm George Pearson. I'm a physician's assistant, and my co-host is vacationing. How you like that? So have a good vacation, uh, uh, Barbara and the family. Uh, and this is where we believe in building a better tomorrow, and we cover topics like health issues, concerns, healthy eating, education, African in the African American communities. And every third Saturday is the Education is the Best Medicine, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, hosted by myself. And I'm Education is the Best Medicine is a 501c nonprofit charitable organization, uh, and it's a community based, and health education advocacy based and resource based organization. It uses public media sources, radio, newspaper, and church based community health fair to provide health, community, and education. I want to thank you for your support over the years. The fourth Saturday is the kitchen table. Miss Howard hosts a session, and we host that together. But she'll be having in her guest, and we're excited about that. And thank you for watching, listening, Believe Radio. Um, I think that again, I we've not understood that climate change, uh, the climate crisis, is right in our back doors. And if you live uh, anywhere in the area, you can see how the weather's changed. How San Francisco has concerns about water um uh, approaching, and they want to build a reinforcement, um, and just the biodiversity is being lost by the planet becoming too hot. Um, I think that um, we can beat this. It's going to take, moving to more renewable sources, decreasing our use of fossil fuels, uh, educating ourselves, taking better care of ourselves, using and advocating for primary healthcare systems that help us do better. Um, in a recent uh, YouTube piece by Dr. Professor Suresh Mata, it's the theme of our planet, our health. Uh, we see humankind, and particularly communities of color, health, uh, need a healthy planet to include clean air, water, and food. Uh, how is war not good for people and not good for the planet? Again, it's not what being done to us. Sometimes it's what we're doing to ourselves. Um, if you could drink drinking lead-rich water, as a folks, or uh, uh, or in a community where there's nothing but food islands, food desert islands, which means you can't find enough fruits, vegetables in the areas you're going to. You have to go out, and what does that mean for your health? Um, the climate crisis in California is due to the lack of rain and drought. It is one of our single most pressing problems. It is a public health issue, um, and the use of fossil fuels while cutting the rainforest again contribute to all these issues. Um, Defining the climate crisis is estimated that 13 million deaths around the world are due to avoidable environmental causes. Climate change is expected to cause approximately 250,000 deaths per year from malnutrition, malaria, diarrhea, disasters, and heat stress. And we need urgent action to make the planet healthy. It's a public health issue. It's an environmental crisis. The impact, the impact of climate change, and it affects our genetics and our lifestyle. Um, Wanted to kind of understand also. We always want to look at the big picture, and um, interestingly, the World Health Organization, uh, at the request of the UN, has provided a couple dynamic pictures about climate change and health. And uh, the climate drivers are increased temperatures and and water extremes, precipitation extremes, extreme weather events, and sea level rise. Um, some of the behavioral in a social behavioral context, what's driving health is age, gender, race, ethnicity, poverty, housing, infrastructure, education, discrimination, access to care, community health infrastructure, pre-existing health conditions. So, I mean, it's the social determinants, right? So when you have uh, adverse outcomes and social determinants, it's in terms of social determinants, meaning um, Maslow's principles: food, clothing, shelter. Then you can't be healthy. So the mere fact that the environment that you're living in is not healthy means that you can't be healthy, but purely by definition. Um, in environmental and institutional contexts, as the land use changes, the ecosystem change, the use of land for um, shelling and some of the techniques for shade oil, we need it, but the techniques kind of destroy our land. Ecosystem change, infrastructure conditions, geography, agricultural production and lifestyle. All these things contribute to our climate crisis. Um, in exposure pathways, you go from climate drivers to the exposure, extreme heat. Of course, you can feel it in California. Poor air quality. Of course, you can feel it in California. The I would always tell people last year as these fires rage, you could look in the uh, on the horizon and just see the particulate matter laying from the smoke. And this was coming not just locally, but from other parts of from south to north of California. again, causing respiratory distress and allergies and runny nose and respiratory issues and and traffic accidents and just I was always told these are the worst times for allergies and allergy sufferers. Um, and the health outcomes tend to be heat related, of course, cardio pulmonary illness, of course, food, water, and vector diseases. Remember when there's in this climate crisis, if things are growing abnormally or dying abnormally uh, because it's too hot, then that's a imbalance of the ecosystem for birds, animals that would consume these things. Or it again, one system is depending on the other, and if that system isn't there, you lose the help of both. Um, And so climate has multiple factors involved in our health care uh, matrix. Um, and so when you talk about sources of uncertainty, again, this is from the World Health Organization in terms of uh, um, some of their white papers and storyboards on climate change. Changes in climate that directly or indirectly affect health. Exposure pathways are uh, so they have this system when it says climate drivers changing the climate that directly or indirectly affect human health. Exposure pathways, health impacts, and health outcomes. And what we need to be better at is uh, understanding greenhouse uh, uh, gases and understanding those and its their effect. How can we prevent them? How can we limit them? Again, it's this use of fossil fuels. It's the use of coal um, for burning for heat. Um, Major emphasis. And if you look at some of the countries that don't want to do these things, it's because they have a real demand for energy, but the technology is not developed enough so they can use solar all the time, or they can use more clean forms. They have to use what they're using because that's what the good government can afford, what the society can afford. So we have to be more understanding of that. And I think it'd be more willing to collaborate with people so that we're all burning clean. Um, and the change in so they did things that understanding change in vulnerability, which is understanding health context, including the demographics and socioeconomics and the data. We really need to understand the data and who this is impacting and why it's impacting them. Um, and be a part of that data, be a part of that data collection, be a part of those metrics, and understand if those metrics and the numbers that they're generating that say it's a benefit or not a benefit or good for us or not, because they may not be. Um, we need to be kind of more not mistrusting, but more having a better view of what's going on. And so when we talk about the impact of climate change on human health, that's what I'm really getting to. This is the medicine hour, and I am a physician's assistant. And so, some of the things they talk about when you have a this matrix of rising temperatures and more extreme weather and um, um, you're going to have more injuries, fatalities, mental health impacts. You're gonna have more in terms of asthma. You're gonna have in terms of air pollution. You're gonna have more asthma, cardiovascular disease. In terms of the vector or bugs, ecology or the growth of bugs and how they grow. So, example, uh, I guess I noticed it, but there's more mosquitoes in California now with the weather, with the drought, seeing more mosquitoes, which make you more at risk for vector-related illnesses like Lyme disease, West Nile virus. Again, in terms of global issues, malaria, um, and uh, again with the increase in the heat, increasing allergens and more respiratory issues and asthma. Again, this is the impact of the climate crisis and global warming. It is a more impact, a more severe impact. And now we probably understand that when our children have asthma in the Bay Area, it's not just that they have asthma, it's the environment that they're living in that triggers that asthma. Um, and we talk about the change in the water supply, which leads to more malnutrition, dehydration, uh, things, and water quality has cholera and camelbacter and a number of bugs that just grow because, again, they grow better in heat. Uh, and uh, and then what it does is create it, as we've seen in Ukraine, forced migration and civil conflict and mental health impacts. And that can be even more clear than what's going on. I really want, again, I'll always say this about the folks in Ukraine. I wish them the best, and I wish them uh, peace. I wish them peace. I wish peace for the world. And again, the discussion on heat related illnesses, and it's more impact. Even our animals are experiences in terms of heat related. Don't leave your dog in the car. Don't leave your kid in the car. Don't leave your kid or your dog in the car. Right. So we have to be more mindful of that, because that's the world that we live in now. And unless we can decrease that, get down to that 1 centigrade temperature, then we're gonna have some problems, and um, I just, as a side, I tell folks that COVID is not over yet. It's not over. I'm concerned about the children between 1 to 5. We still don't have a vaccine for them, and 30% of Americans still aren't vaccinated. Um, this is the summer. Everyone's out. It's hot. The virus doesn't do well in the heat, but the winter's coming. And I think that we have to understand that these are the kind of viruses that jump to host that can contain them. So 1 to 5, poor immune system, haven't gotten their basic vaccination because of the COVID pandemic. So, let's be intelligent. Uh, uh, I'm advocating for masks until the children are vaccinated. After children are vaccinated, let's have that. But we still have a small group that has not and isn't protected, while we're adding on another vaccine. So I think about that one. But uh, let's not forget the babies. Uh, and it's been, and the World Health Organization, again, was a part of the Armada Project. And 40 years later, in the global conference on primary care in October of 21 at Aston, they reaffirmed primary care as the most effective approach to achieve universal health coverage. So, universal health coverage means that you can go in a facility, and regardless of your insurance, get the care that you need. Um, some future things are coming, because of the epidemic in mental health issues, and the disconnect between mental health and primary care. Um, and we'll talk about this in the future. There is now a master plan to, one, uh, ensure that um, primary care and mental health will be interfacing. So the ideal is that if you have a mental health issue, you could enter any part of the system and get not only mental health but medical services regarding what's going on. My opinion on that is that if you don't address the mental health issue, you can't address the medical issue. And so I think the flip side to that is that there's going to be some legislation. I don't know if people catch the blur, but if folks that are quote unquote considered to be 5150 and refusing care, they're going to be forced to get care. I guess in my background and history, I have to agree with that one because a lot of our issues, I tell the people that I serve on the mental health perspective, I tell them my job is to keep you out of the hospital and have you live your best life. And one of the things increasingly that I am aware is my patient's contact with a mental health system that might need to be receptive to them, a um, a medical system that may not be receptive to them, and a law enforcement component, and as well as the emergency medical service that may not be receptive to them. In other words, one of the big uh, lies is that people with mental health issues are more violent. That's not true. Usually, people with mental health issues have violence acted on them because of what's going on with them, whether they're having voices or delusions or just depressed. So they're more likely to be abused. So, FYI, so they reconvened the Amada project. We talked about the Amada project, uh, and that was convened in Russia, and what it stated that, and I always like to read it because I think it's just great. It says stated that this is in 1978 in the USSR. USSR. It says that the conference strongly reaffirms that health, which is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Uh, it is a fundamental human right, and that and the attainment of the highest possible level of health is the most important worldwide social goal, which uh, whose realization requires action on many other social, economic sectors in addition to the health sector. When I first read that, I was like, man, let's get going. Let's get cracking because that's what we need. And again, I emphasize that the original discussion around Armada was a discussion around primary health care. And primary care is where we access care. It is uh, the World Health Organization's um, model for care. So this is not we're not the care that we're doing now has been more of a disease based model as opposed to a primary care model. And what I mean by that is that instead of in terms of primary care, you look at the whole person and all phases of the family could be treated. It looks at just disease specific. Do you have hypertension? Do you have diabetes? Do you have a mental health issue? And they address that. But what I always said was that you can treat the person, you can treat the body, but if you don't treat the person, then you're not going to have a good outcome, and that's what we've had. So we'll see how this turns out. And again, in Amata, again, this is in 1978. Um, the there was a in one of the discussions it says and that's eight. It says that all governments should formulate national policies, strategies, and plans uh, of the action to launch and sustain primary care as a part of a comprehensive national health system in coordination with other sectors. To this end, it would be necessary to exercise political will to mobilize the country's resources to use available external resources. So even in 1978, they knew that the primary care model was the best model that we had for providing health care to a large group of people, and that government need to be involved, and also, and it had to be, which had happened, an interface, an interconnection, so that everybody was on the same page. And what we've had now is a disjointed system that initially in my early career really focused on specialty care, especially providers, and primary care was kind of like the stepchild. and as they realize that um, uh, primary care in most systems of the world is the foundation, then they start to move there. What's the problem? Well, cost. Um, uh, you don't make as much money. It's always the dollar. So we'll see how that plays out. And uh, I think that um, so that was kind of the Amata discussion, but this is now the uh, Astani Astani discussion of 2018, and it says they based this on a bold vision in the 2018 election of Astani. It had four commitments: making bold political choices for health across all sectors, building sustainable primary healthcare adapted to each country's local context, empowering individuals and communities, aligning stakeholder support um, for national policies. And that is bold. And I think that one of the things that's bold about it is that it says that we have to have an interconnected, unified front in regards to our health and our health on the planet. Because again, this is World Health Day, and it's our planet, our health. Uh, Sounds kind of simple, but it really isn't because it requires that things change. Again, it requires that uh, we understand that the impact um, uh, on the planet is one we can't tolerate: sick planet, sick people, and it says, what could what money would you want to make if you couldn't live on this planet? What would that be to you? Why is that? Why we want to go to the moon? Why we want to go to Mars? Because of our degradation of our home, the place we live, our inability to change. Our love of the dollar. I don't know. We will soon find out. Um, and I'm again, I try to talk about models, um, and understanding that World Health Day is about what you can do to make not only your planet better, but you better. And it, it's again, it's like we're uh, think globally, but act locally. And I think that we should be okay. The theme of the World Health Day was our planet, our health. And again, it's just kind of reminding people of the link between the planet and our health, and that a number of uh, communicable and non-communicable infectious disease rise alongside intense climate-related changes. And so this is why I guess I'm seeing more mosquitoes, because of the heat. And and part of this day is to raise awareness about ongoing health issues and concerns, um, and and not just for across the world. It also uses an opportunity to spread awareness about overall health and well-being of people. Uh, uh, yeah, uh, it was first celebrated in 1950 and then celebrated worldwide. And we think that, I think that it was important to understand that, we are interconnected. Our planet is interconnected. Um, we have to be aware that uh, we act locally uh, because it's affecting us globally. Um, I think that the emphasis on primary care is key, and we're going to talk more about systems in the next couple of months. I have some folks coming on. They're going to talk about the intersection of mental health and primary care in an African American setting. Um, we need a comprehensive healthcare center that addresses our needs and views our issues and our concerns as Africans that have been descendants of slaves in the late 1600s, the 1619 project. Um, and I think the criteria for me I see is that those providers understand that and understand what's going to be required to heal in terms of the trauma, in terms of the effect on our psyche and on our health. That is the only way. And uh, again, we talked about the uh, one of the papers, the in the World Health uh, Day 2022 theme, history and significance, and again, it is about uh, uh, that COVID really changed the health dynamic. It helped. It laid bare the numerous cracks in our healthcare system, the numerous issues in terms of structural and institutional racism, the numerous issues of trauma, the numerous issues of bias and stigma that pervade the system. And I would say that over the country, there's been a real attack on LGBT community folks, and I don't understand that. It just kind of bothers me that uh, when you start picking on one group because they're different, then that's anybody and everybody in America. And uh, I think that we have to be okay with standing up and saying that's not right for anyone or anybody or anything. Um, I'll say that two gay black men, one showed me, made a suggestion I go into medicine. Uh, James Holmes, he's a nurse, brilliant black man. Uh, uh, Dr. Robert Scott, physician, uh, AIDS specialist, one of the first physicians to employ me. So, uh, got no issue with anybody, that wanted me to do better and gave me a chance. So, um, I think we have to think about that and kind of restruct and deconstruct that mindset. It's not healthy when you exclude people. That's the whole problem. Is that we are about excluding people as opposed to embracing and accepting people. That's one of the things that Believe Radio does, and the Eyes of Conscious Soul do. They believe and they accept, and they want the best. I want to thank them for allowing me this opportunity to have these discussions. Uh, Again, I want to build a brand. I want to build us. Let's talk about these things. Hit up Believe Radio and give them your thoughts on the show and your thoughts on the content. We're really pushing content. Uh, that's one of the reasons I signed up, because I'm a content person. I try to do database, information based, uh, and teaching people to teach themselves, because I learned too. So I want to thank folks again for tuning in. I want to thank the Eyes of the Conscious Soul for uh, 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 allowing me to take this trip with them. Again, uh, we are on. Uh, Believe Radio is a 24-hour inspirational and gospel music format. Uh, you currently are uh, the host by the Eyes of Conscious Soul, and she's hosting my show, Education to Best Medicine. She's on the first Saturday of the month from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and her first corner is Cafe La Blue, Artist Talk. The second corner is Why I Dream, and the third corner is Legacy Live, She Who Believes. Um, every second Saturday of the month, 2 o'clock to 3 is the Medicine Hour. You're listening to him now. I'm George Pearson. I'm a physician assistant, and my co-host is on vacation. Gotta take a vacation. And we believe in building a better tomorrow, and it starts with us. Again, listen to Believe Radio. Tune in. There's a lot more shows on the platform. Our whole diversity and talk and music and things that you like. And so here we cover topics of health issues and concerns, healthy eating habits. Just to give you the format, I'm probably doing a healthcare discussion a month. This month it will be the World Health Organization and healthcare systems. So I'm glad you tuned into that. And we believe that taking care of the mind, body, and spirit are essential to mental wellness, health, healthy eating habits, and healthy thinking leads to healthy way of thinking. Thank you, Ms. Howard. Uh, every third Saturday is the uh, every third Saturday is the uh, education and best medicine. From up to every third Saturday is the medicine hour from 2 to 3 o'clock, and then we have education and best medicine uh, on the third Saturday, and every fourth Saturday of the month is the kitchen table. I host with Barbara Howard. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Please continue to listen and watch. We'll try to keep it interesting. We'll try to keep it live. Um, the last thing I have to say, and I read this in the Post recently, is that there's been a major settlement in this opiate epidemic issue. And what does that mean for us in general? It means a lot of money is going to come to the states in regards to opiate addiction and programs because of the devastation of opiates in the community. The other part to that is that it's probably going to be hard to get pain medicines, because when you have a major settlement in a product like this, the question will be, do you want to prescribe that product? Would you be smart prescribing that product? If you prescribe that product and the person had an adverse outcome or got addicted, whose fault is it? Is the provider's fault or is the patient's fault? Or whose fault is it, right? So probably we're looking at a really, really major change in how these drugs are used, even more so now. And because the studies were so poorly done, there's just no support of data to use these medicines long term. What's going to be the outcome? I don't know. Um, I had stopped prescribing opiates 2009 and started to decrease their use in prescribing, and we're using them limitedly because the science didn't support them anymore. Same way with benzodiazepines, the science doesn't support them. And so we have to look for alternatives, more cognitive behavioral therapy, more relaxation, more psychotherapy. These are things that work, and these are things that America asks for. We get too many drugs. We give too many drugs. So every time I go to my provider, he's giving me medicine. So heard you. Let me know what you think. Again, there's the major settlement against the opiate um, companies, Shackley, uh, Purdue Pharma. Are paying a lot of money out and converting their systems to messages that are going to help in this addiction crisis. And it isn't a crisis. 25% of my homeless patients have mental health issues, and 25% of my patients incarcerated have mental issues. So we need to be on the other side of that. Again, um, want to thank you for tuning in. Again, hey, dial us up, email us, get on and listen to Believe Radio. Tune us in. Tune me in. I'm gonna start downloading a lot of my shows to Facebook and that kind of thing. I have to get tech savvy about that. But enjoying it here, enjoying the ability to be with you folks on a Saturday afternoon. I know it's beautiful out there. Uh, please enjoy. Wear your sunscreen, drink your water. Uh, uh, take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else. That's one of the things I'm saying to a lot of folks. I take care of. If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. Um, Women of color do that a lot too. So I want to spend a special shout out to women of color to take time for themselves, take time to take care of themselves, take time to heal, because you are the mothers of the families of the generations. Um, it's um, um, again, want to thank Believe Radio and all the folks, Curtis, that made it possible for me to get my show on board. That was a boy, sometimes when you're trying to do what you need to do, it's always going to be blocks. But you have to get through those blocks. Successful people know how to either get around, under, or through that block. And let's be successful. Let's uh, have a kind word, have a kind spirit. Uh, uh, I always say that um, vision is the art of seeing things yet unseen, and we want to bring light to a very dark world. Uh, and it's only dark because we've allowed it to become that way. We have to continue to shine the light on the world that we want to have and we want to be. I want to say thanks to the Bay Area. Thanks for your support. Thanks to my family, my grandchild, uh, and my grandchildren, and all my family members, and all the people that have been so supportive in making me who I am. Um, it's been great. Uh, we really do want your support. We really want to be the station that you want us to be. We really want to be. Uh, we want you to believe, and want you to believe radio. I am want to thank you for lending me some of your time. I feel blessed and humbled that you would spend a little time with me. Again, it's World Health Day, and it's our planet. Our planet, our health. And uh, if you think it's not worth saving, try to find somewhere else to go. Okay. Uh, I want to thank you for again taking the time to listen to the medicine hour, and we'll see you in a week or so. I want to look forward to keeping it real and keeping it moving. You know, you got to keep it real, keep it moving. Uh, Again, thank you for taking the time to listen to Believe Radio and the Eyes of the Conscious Soul, who hosted the program today at Education's Best Medicine. Um, Say a kind word. Uh, be peaceful. You know, don't be so high, don't be so low. Hey, feel decent. You'll be okay. Okay. Uh, I want to thank you for listening to us. Again, in honor of World Health Day 2022, uh, our planet, our health. And again, uh, keep humans and the planet healthy. Uh, Again, keep humans and the planet healthy. Uh, do what you can. It's the small things that count, whether it be recycling or walking or any of it. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us tonight. We'll see you next time on Believe Radio. Eyes of the Conscious Soul, Education is the Best Medicine. Sign off.